I'm Healey and I'm here in trendy Old Street in London, which is home to some of the UK's largest media houses. With Onken, I've gathered some expert journalists and editors to answer your real questions. I'm really excited to be working with Onken and their real report because I think it really taps into what modern women are really talking about. We're a bit fed up with all these false images and messages that seem to saturate media nowadays. We want to be spoken to honestly and truthfully. You've sent your questions in via Onken's Facebook page and now it's my job to grill the experts. I found it really surprising in Onken's real report that 75% of women want airbrushing banned. Do you think we'll ever live in a world where it doesn't exist?
Personally, I don't think that airbrushing will die, especially with glossy magazines and advertising campaigns which involve airbrushing. But with sites like Handbag, we're trying our very best to stop the airbrushing trend.
You know, it's interesting, photoshopping isn't a terribly new concept. You know, centuries and centuries ago, Renaissance painters would portray their subjects in a far greater, to look far more attractive than they were, to keep their patrons happy. But of course now it's far more ubiquitous, and obviously there are dangers there, particularly for young people. I don't agree with the idea of putting a warning sticker on fashion magazines, because I think that if we do that, eventually people just won't see the stickers anymore. If you can get to the children, think of the children, and bring them up to realise that the world of advertising and the media is largely a sort of a hyper-reality rather than a representation of reality.
Do you feel a pressure as the editor to conform to the normal catwalk model size, in terms of the women that you're putting on your site? Because you must, as a woman, you must want to represent lots of different sizes, but is there a limit of models?
Well, we do actually represent lots of different women on the site, because we have a section called Can I Wear This?, which is very read online. It's very realistic, it's quite funny, quite tongue-in-cheek. And basically we have the fashion team who are all different sizes and shapes, and they actually take a trend and will wear it and show you how each of them wears it. So it's like a version of a street style. And so it might be cobalt blue is the trend, and they'll or each wear a piece and say how they would mix it up. So we're very good at making sure that everyone gets represented on the site.
I do think like the recent popularity of street style blogs, of online sites where, like you say, you don't have time to do it.
Correct.
I think women are getting more used to looking at real images of women, and it's lovely. It's really nice to see that some people have knees that aren't completely smooth like a Barbie doll's.
That's a really good point about street style, actually. Those kind of articles are really, people engage in those type of articles more than they do with advertising, say.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you find on your site people are more drawn to street style and real stories, or celebrity images and stories?
Both.
Equal measure?
Yes, I'd say.
Really?
Because people do want to look like a celebrity, because they're in the media, they look great, and we want to look great. It
was interesting that Onken's real report showed that women were actually more impressed and wanted to emulate people like Karen Brady and Jessica Ennis. Whereas when I look at the media, I look at someone like Kim Kardashian and the Towie gang, they get so much more coverage. How do you explain that?
I think it's the crucial difference between women seeing people as role models and women seeing people as figures of media interest, I guess. So just because the media covers Kim Kardashian and the Towie crew and whoever else in quite considerable volume doesn't mean that that reflects an interest in them as a role model, as them as an aspirational figure.
Okay, so I want to read about them, but I don't want to be them.
Yeah, so they tend to be people who live these slightly strange lives that are, that don't really touch on what we do on a daily basis. They're sort of slightly fantastical, slightly outside our sort of sphere of what reality is.
A massive, massive thank you to all the journalists and editors who came and sat on the sofa for a bit of a grilling. For more real answers, visit Onken's Facebook page, Onken Dairy.